Bonsoir, mesdames, messieurs. Il y a 50 ans, je parlais bien français, mais malheureusement, j'ai oublié presque tous. Alors, je dois faire mon présentation en la deuxième langue du Canada, en anglais. You guys are easy. Seamus, I thank you for that most gracious introduction. It is both my great honor and pleasure to be with you here tonight, to be joining Peter's wife, Casey, his sister, Sarah, Peter's niece, Tegan, and our great mutual friend, another outstanding Canadian journalist, Barry Dunsmore. Peter and I were friends for more than 40 years. We were, in many respects, so dissimilar. Peter, tall and rakishly good-looking, I, on the short side, and only on the rarest of occasions mistaken for Robert Redford. All right, once I was mistaken for Robert Redford, to the great amusement of my wife, who was sitting with me in the back of the taxi on a dark and rainy night in New York. Peter was the quintessential white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. I was the son of German Jewish refugees, born and raised in England, and taught in a British boarding school to deliver a robust, if not entirely sincere version of Onward Christian Soldiers. For all our differences, though, Peter, the son of Canada's iconic broadcaster, Charles Jennings, and I, who grew up wanting to be the U.S. version of Charles Jennings, Edward R. Murrow, Peter and I were united, mind and soul, in our determination to make ABC News the preeminent broadcast news organization of our time. Peter was exposed to the values of the best in Canadian broadcasting as a young man. Indeed, he would have absorbed them at the dinner table as a child. As an adult, he learned the importance of covering the world. He knew from many years of personal experience that living in a region, establishing a network of contacts, learning the history, the context of a story, all of these are essential to intelligent reporting. The custom these days of parachuting anchors or a star correspondent into an area after a crisis has exploded may be economically sound, but it is no substitute for a team of 2 or 3 dozen resident correspondents spread around the world like so many canaries in a coal mine, anticipating and warning of crises before they happen. These days, I'm told, even the legendary CBC is facing hard times. A 10% cutback in government funding with the attendant increase in commercial advertising. Even here, and certainly in his adopted home to the south, Peter Jennings' career stands as a monument to what television news once was, and as a reproach to much of what it has become, most especially on the cable networks. I understand the why of it, the economics, the technological explosion, the popularity of partisan ranting over the earnest striving for objectivity, but it's wrong and it's dangerous. Daniel Patrick Moynihan, the late Pat Moynihan, the late U.S. Senator from New York, once observed that everyone is entitled to his own opinion, but everyone is not entitled to his own facts. In a lovely tribute to Peter's enormous contributions, the city of New York renamed the block that houses much of ABC News on West 66th Street Peter Jennings Way, as a reminder and as a tribute That is apt. As a description of most television news today, it is, sadly, no longer accurate. Peter, who received almost every award bestowed on television journalists while he was alive, surely needs no further honors. We, on the other hand, can benefit enormously from this lovely reminder of just how good the best among us once was. Take a look. And now it is my very great pleasure to introduce an old friend known to some of you as the author of Art and Politics, the History of the National Arts Center, known to many of you as a longtime political, cultural journalist for the CBC and most of Canada's national magazines and newspapers, but still known to me as Peter's kid sister. Please welcome Sarah Jennings.
My only claim to fame. On behalf of the entire Jennings family, thank you for this really wonderful tribute to Peter, and especially thanks to Ted Koppel for coming all this way to salute his old colleague and also his friends, obviously, who spoke to it. And thanks to the Journalism Foundation and its terrific staff for putting all this together. Peter made his career outside of Canada, but his foundations were here, and Canada was his touchstone. He came back every summer for at least 3 weeks to Ottawa's Gatineau Hills to reground himself, and he indoctrinated his wives and his children. Sorry, Casey, we did discuss that line. Crisscrossing the country by car and by train, so they knew every corner of it. Everything Canadian, as his friends will attest, was important to him. Quintessential items stand out, such as Eddie stick matches, heavy wool lumberjack socks, which he bought by the dozen in Ottawa's Byward Market, Wakefield honey, and of course, canoes. Above all, he carried with him all through his career the values he did learn here, as Ted put it, and stole all my best lines. As a boy and as a young man, from our CBC broadcaster father and from his own beginnings at the CBC, those values of broadcasting and journalism, not just as a source of profit, but as a great public service. While he had his greatest achievements with ABC, one of the world's largest commercial broadcast companies, his early education remained with him throughout his life, and in my opinion, was a factor which set him apart from his competitors. Peter had a wonderful, fascinating, and exciting life, and he thought so right up to the moment of leaving it. Thanks again, everyone, for this wonderful tribute tonight.